and welcome to Finextra. I'm Hannah Wallace, and with me now is Eleni Coldrey, Business Development Director for Financial Services EMEA at Equinix, and we're talking about interconnection and data. Hello Eleni, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Now, Equinix has had a recent paper out with Finextra that focuses on interconnection and data at the edge. So to start off with, could you tell me what were the thoughts behind the research of the paper?
Yeah, sure. So at Equinix, we're a host to a broad range of financial services firms, and we appreciate they're going through a lot of disruption at the moment, and there's a huge amount of talk about digital disruption. We know there are pressures from the regulator, from consumers, from competition, but we really wanted to ask the customers exactly what it was they were facing, what were the key challenges, and where were their focus areas. And so we decided to do some primary research and just ask them. So that was the reasoning behind the paper.
All right, and talking about challenges, what would you say are the biggest hurdles around open banking?
So I think with open banking, there are a number of challenges. There are a lot of opportunities as well. And so one of the things that we're seeing is there's a lot of new technology out there that can be leveraged to create really interesting applications in open banking. Technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, people are looking to blockchain and DLT, etc. But how do you leverage those technologies, particularly when you're a mature institution? How do you make the most of them? So we found that was a key area. There's another area which is talked about a lot, which is ecosystems and marketplaces, building that community and integrating them again into your business, and how does that work when you really have to focus on protection of customer data? How do you distribute data whilst remaining secure? So those are some of the key challenges that are clearly there in the world of open banking.
All right, and in this new banking ecosystem, how can banks secure a competitive advantage? What's the importance of collaboration and partnerships?
I think the findings clearly state that it's really important to work on your partnerships and make sure that you create the right marketplace to deliver on your digital strategy, on your open banking strategy. And one thing I'd say is that open APIs and APIs in general are not new. They might be fairly new to banking, but they're certainly not new to the original digital platforms that are out there. Companies such as Salesforce.com that generate 50% of their revenue through APIs, or someone like an Expedia, 90% of their revenue through APIs. And so that partnership model, that ease of onboarding, that ease of integration with a really broad range of partners is something that's a huge challenge to banks, but it is something that has been solved for before. And so I would clearly state that, let's look outside the world of banking for our inspiration in solving these challenges. Typically, we're looking at those kind of big social players perhaps as competition in the world of open banking. They're certainly the source of a lot of e-commerce, particularly with buy buttons in social media, etc. But what about just assessing how they approach a digital platform? How do they handle the increased number of connections that are needed, the transfer of data, security, etc., access into clouds? These are all challenges that banks are facing. They're not new.
Great, and coming back to interconnection, can you tell me what's the importance there and how is it helping support open banking?
Sure, I think we all acknowledge that an ecosystem is needed to deliver on the promise of open banking and to deliver on digital transformation more broadly. So what I would say is that it's really important to understand where that ecosystem lives. Where is the data? Where is it moving to? Mm-hmm. How are you going to secure that and ensure that the privacy of your customers and the security of their funds are guaranteed? Ensuring that this ecosystem connects in a secure way and efficiently is the promise of interconnection. Interconnection is taking connectivity entirely off internet, creating a private network between the ecosystem of partners, and that's what we're working on with both banks and fintech and clouds at Equinix.
And finally, what technology and business constraints do banks need to consider going forward?
Sure, well again I take it back to open banking is all about digital strategy, and digital strategy needs a digital platform. We know that the banks are re-architecting And I think what's important to keep in mind is, there are certain fundamentals that have to be considered when building out a digital platform. We need to think about data, we need to think about networks, about clouds, and crucially security across all of those elements. And so when it comes to perhaps re-platforming or creating the open API gateways, I would say don't just think of the short-term opportunities, think bigger. Where could this go? What volumes of data? Where are they going to be? Think of IoT, think of the best case scenario and plan for wild success so that your platform can scale and support you well into the future.
Well, Eleni, this has been really insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching.